Depot is the foundation of learning for a police officer.
It's challenging, it'll push you to your edge of comfort, but that's a good thing.
The days are long, but the weeks are short.
Here, life is very, very busy. You're always moving.
We have a very supportive environment that people just want to work hard.
So we have 3 dormitory buildings. Each holds either 6 or 7 troops at a time. And the troop it consists of 32 cadets. So all 32 cadets will live in the same dormitory space at the same time. So every day, a cadet is responsible for maintaining we call the sleeping area or your personal space, their pit. It's not about making your bed, it's about learning to pay attention to detail, because in the policing world, attention to detail is critical. It can mean the difference between losing a case in court or even between life and death.
Halfway they will go through the training inspection that the cadets will have to prepare their pits to the highest standards they can, displaying their uniform, displaying the leathers that they have started to polish. The training officer on base will go through the dorm and then ask them individual questions. It could be anything regarding the cadet training program. They have to show self-composure, and they have to answer to an officer professionally as well.
So they have the dorm spaces, and there's a small kitchen area attached to it, and in the basement of all those dorm buildings there's a boot polishing room, gun cleaning room, laundry facilities, and storage space. The mess, so the meals are taken there.
Accommodations are something that the depot mess does really, really well, and the chefs are amazing there. Other than the diversity of the food and the options, it's also really good now.
So basically from the time they have breakfast, throughout the day every class is taken together. They're not individual classes, they work together as a group, and until the day is completed, then they can go back to their dorms or take the time to work on extracurricular material.
So 21 years ago when I came to training, I purposely cut my hair so that I could wear a forage cap. It wasn't anywhere near as diverse as it is now. It's wonderful when you look around training and you see the inclusivity and diversity. We've made such significant changes, and it's heartwarming to see. So the Anti-Racism, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Secretariat, so we call it ARTIS, is part of the Human Resources Strategic Policies and Procedures Greater Unit in Ottawa. And really the goal is shared. There are a number of objectives to ensure that equity and diversity are at the forefront of our decision making and the policing services that we provide to and with the communities. And then anti-racism is really about ensuring that we can take steps towards becoming an organization that does treat everybody with respect and dignity and embodies the core values that we do embody on a daily basis, but throughout Canada and nationwide for everyone. Society as a whole wants their organization, their police service, to reflect them and to serve their needs in the best possible way. One of my responsibilities are program manager of DICE and DREAM. The DICE program is the Diverse Inclusive Pre-Cadet Experience Program. It's a year-and-a-half old, and it was created in response to the need to have the police service reflect the society, to ensure that we have new Canadians and racialized employees and equity-seeking groups see themselves reflected in the police service and have an opportunity to come to train. We pair candidates who are interested in learning a little bit more about the RCMP and coming to Depot for a pre-cadet experience of 3 weeks. We pair them with a regular member to mentor them and let them know a little bit about what our organization is about. So we're looking to new Canadians, we're looking to racialized and underrepresented groups, we're looking to equity-seeking groups to join the program. So the mentorship piece really is instrumental in getting our candidates to come to Depot. As far as the success of the program, we have over 700 candidates on our list right now who are interested to come to Depot and take part in the program. We've had 2 troops to date delivered, one in 2023 and one this year, and they were full troops of 32 pre-cadets. The DICE program is being looked at not only nationally but internationally by the Metropolitan Police, by the US for modeling. While police agencies are looking to us, we're also looking to just community leaders. We really do rely on society as a whole to inform us and share with us what their needs are so that we can meet them. The DREAM program is the Diverse Retention Employee Advancement Model, and it was piloted this year in March 2024 in Halifax. The aim there is to ensure that our underrepresented equity-seeking employees are getting support. So retention and mentorship. When we have 2 to 7 years service and we're looking at, I want to be in major crimes, how do I do that? How do I apply for a promotional opportunity? At the workshop, we paired them with senior leaders who were able to give them that specific guidance. And the feedback with that workshop was overwhelmingly positive. Troops that are marching on base now, there isn't an only. Troops aren't, it's not just 1 or 2 diverse, it's not just 1 or 2 women. Our troops are very well balanced, and I'm so excited to see what that looks like for our police service as we move forward. Look around the table, who are the decision makers? When you can talk to somebody who understands exactly what it is that you're looking at or understand, then that's the key. The cadets today, they're going to be the decision makers of tomorrow. And that's incredibly exciting because as I look up the ranks, as I look at senior leadership, I don't necessarily always see myself reflected. It's getting better. But I'm really hopeful that the cadet today in 20, 21 years does see themselves reflected in senior management, in senior leadership, and feels that not only have they been invited to the table, but they are the decision maker with and for everyone within the RCMP.
Here, go, no, don't jump on this part, boys. Go, okay, go. Thanks.
It's amazing to see them on their first day. They come in and they're timid and they're shy and they don't talk much. And then as we start running together as a troop, as we feel what it feels like to be at our maximum effort together, everybody comes together, and then on graduation, they're a whole new person. Physical fitness is important at Depot because physical fitness is important in the field. Cadets must work out 5 times a week. They must do a mandatory of 3 cardio workouts and 2 resistance workouts. And that's the minimum.
We show you how to lift, we show you how to run, and then we'll test your fitness throughout training so that by the time you graduate, you're ready for the physical demands of the job.
For FPPC number 2, which is the test that's being done today, they'll wear a weight belt. On position, ready, go, they're going to complete 2 laps of the course. The first 2 laps, they are weaving in and out of cones. On the 3rd lap, they're going to run past a set of cones. When they get to their 2nd set of cones, they're going to cut in and go over the fence. Once they get over that fence, they're then going to complete 2 additional laps. For FPPC number 2, they must complete this in 2 minutes and 39 seconds. So the cadets will finish their foot pursuit. They're able to grab water, take a little walk, and then they'll proceed to the push-pull. The push-pull is the push of a sled in an M pattern. You have to go right into taking down the mannequin immediately after that sled is done. So that's going to stimulate our kind of fight phase. The mannequin, you have 3 attempts to take down in order to be successful in the test.
The RCMP partnered with the Department of National Defence researchers to develop this test, and there were over 500 members from all across Canada tested in different locations in every province. They wanted to take all of the job tasks that you could potentially have to do at any given time and boil them down to 4 physical components, that if you can do these physical components, you have the physical ability to do the rest of the job.
Not only is it important to be fit so that we can do our job safely, fitness is so important for our mental health. When you get into the field, you are going to be presented with stressors that you have never had to deal with prior to becoming a police officer. Physical fitness is going to allow you to handle that stress a little bit better. And you need that, because if you're going to have a healthy career, you need to have a healthy mind. The cadets are always encouraging each other. It's such a positive environment. The cadets are encouraging each other, the facilitators are encouraging each other. Even if someone is unsuccessful, people are still so supportive of each other. Our job is to get people to be fit to be police officers. And we want to see people succeed, so we'll do everything that we can to help them get there.
The light's going to tell you where to go. You're not allowed to touch your brakes. So it should look like something like this. Now I'm going to do it the same way, but I'm not going to use push-pull.
Okay.
You see, like the truck.
Yeah, you slide, yeah.
And the truck kicked into.
So we know police officers spend a considerable amount of time behind the wheel of a police vehicle. When you see police officers out in public, usually it is in a police vehicle. So a considerable amount of time spent driving to, from calls, receiving information, emergency vehicle response, all of that, and getting to the call and ensuring that we are safe in doing so and ensuring the safety of Canadians as we do it is a very important factor.
Yeah. Which one would you do and why?
Left, because I saw a car coming.
You remember, right? You're far behind.
Yeah.
And you have to catch up and everything.
Okay.
So if it's not safe to do so, you don't.
We use an acronym called SIPT, Search, Identify, Predict, Decide, and Execute. As you're driving, you're continually searching your surroundings, being aware of what's going on around you. As we know, stress can have a big impact on your driving, so the more stressed out the cadets get as part of calls that are created here, shows them how it affects their driving abilities. So to try and demonstrate that so that they can develop techniques to work with that. We also introduce gravel road and highway driving. As the program continues, we bring them towards advanced driving. Advanced driving looks at vehicle dynamics, higher speed, more dynamic type driving situation, physiological, psychological type of considerations, and then we end on emergency vehicle operation, which could be on your way to a call, pursuit driving, and then taking information and making policy-based decisions based on situational factors. So the track's developed and it's showing, again, numerous different factors that people might, or say police officers might face as they're driving around in public. It'll have curve negotiation considerations, it'll have emergency lane changes, it'll have close quarters stuff where you have to make decisions based on vehicle placement and spatial awareness. So the track's developed to show all of those different skills and to try and build a cumulative component of everything to build it all together so that you can apply it all at once as you're basically on the way to a call or experiencing these different factors. The patrol driving, that is the first benchmark that they'll receive with us. So passing the patrol drive would require that score of 59 out of 85 or higher, and ensuring that you're a safe driver throughout. The next drives that they face that have benchmarks on them are their gravel and their highway drive, both have score components. As we transition to the track components, each track component has a different requirement to pass. Our cumulative track is a 4-minute time that is required. They're not allowed to strike cones, they have to have vehicle control, and they actually are graded on a rubric. They do collision avoidance, where they are avoiding a collision at a 70 and an 80 km/h speed. The 70 is done without brakes, the 80 km is done with brakes. Again, no cone struck, make the right decision, vehicle control throughout the exercise. As as they transition into their emergency vehicle operation benchmark, where we're introducing pursuit policies to them. They have to drive safe, factor in all the information that they're learning from dispatch, and make the right policy-based decision in order to pass that particular benchmark. We need to be able to safely operate these vehicles so that we can get to the call, so that we can ensure the safety of the Canadian public that we're serving. Canada's full of unique spaces and places. We know driving in them has considerations, and we are introducing people to all of those different considerations. It's a great program, it's a fun program. It does put people and push people beyond what they thought they could do, but seeing where they can get to and seeing when they recognize that they can get there, from maybe hearing things like, I don't think I can do this at the beginning, to success at the end of the track day, it's exciting, builds their confidence for a lot of other aspects of police work as well.
Buffalo Detachment is a replica of an actual working detachment. So if you were working in a small town, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, someplace like that, that's very much what you would be seeing. That's what your detachment would look like. So we've got telecoms operators working there. We have our fleet of police vehicles. We have classrooms, we have interview rooms, we have a bullpen, which is where the members would work during their shift. And we have actually a functioning cells area as well. So during their time at depot, cadets will be introduced to a number of different scenarios through Buffalo Detachment. So they will sign out a vehicle, they will be dispatched to their call by the dispatchers at Buffalo Detachments. From there, they will go to their call, determine what the problem is, solve the problem. Occasionally, they may need to make an arrest, and on occasion, they may need to lodge a person in cells. So that would facilitate returning to Buffalo Detachment with your person in custody, and if required, lodging them in cells. And so we would teach the entire process to the cadets here from start to finish.
No, miss, if you don't touch me, come with me. I won't touch you. Thank you very much. So have a little over here, bring your coffee, we'll have a chat over here, okay? Wonderful. I'm Cadet now. Can I get your name?
I need you to understand that I
folks,
love you.
here's
well, you don't act like it.
Folks, do me a favor.
I promise.
Okay, scenario
I'll do
over.
better.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
We're going to Short Species.
Oh, cool. Where are you from?
You're Short.
Oh, cool.
Okay, let's head back to the room.
Thank you, you as well.
Okay, how do you guys think that went?
We have a number of different scenario training facilities. We have a duplex, we have 2 houses, we have a mini mall, and lots of outdoor locations. So really, during the training and scenario training, you could be dispatched to any kind of a location. It could be a residence, it could be a business. Any of those places could be in play, and you have to deal with the situation as it arises. Testing occurs all throughout training. So every time you're taught a new skill, as you progress, you're tested on those skills. You're also required to practice and train to keep up those skills as you go through training. So all of those skills will be used for final detachment scenarios or for your final exam. So the final detachment scenarios are important, but all of the testing and everything that we do here leads up to that.
Right out.
All right.
Yep.
One of the things that police get scrutinized on the most is use of force. This is what we teach in PDT, it's use of force. So it's important for the cadets to have a good understanding of use of force and how to apply that in a policing context. Is it reasonable? Is it necessary? Are you able to explain that? That's the big key here. So the IMIM is the Incident Management Intervention Model. It's a way for the cadets to understand what they might be faced with and what their options could be in relation to what they might face. We never want the cadets to say, okay, I'm faced with this behavior, so I must do this. No, you're faced with this situation with all the factors that surround that. So who's your subject? What's your subject age? What's their size? What's their physical activity? Where are you? Are you outside? Are you inside? Are you in a tight space? Are you in a big space? All these things are going to come into play when you're making your decision in terms of which skill or which tactic you're going to use. We always ask the cadets, what do you think is the most common intervention options? And you'll hear different things, right? Like handcuffing, wrist locks, whatever the case is. But the answer is communication. Over 99% of the time, communication is going to change behavior in some way, shape, or form. We preach the importance of verbal de-escalation. Just by virtue of talking to somebody, finding out what motivates them might be enough to take that behavior from something higher to something lower, or something more manageable. When you're forced to make decisions under stress, mistakes can happen. So we want to mitigate that by exposing them to that stress here so that they're able to make better decisions out there. PDT is always changing. Since I arrived in November of 2019, we've already seen several revamps of the PDT program. We've seen changes to our striking program. We've seen changes to our grappling or ground fighting program. And we just recently added Taser 7 to the cadet training program. We are constantly revisiting, reviewing the program to make sure that it's the best it can be for the cadets and to make them the best they can be when they head into the field.
So I want you to put that front target up right away. I'm not hanging in front of you well. And then I want you to top up your depleted magazines with 10 rounds each.
Here at the Firearms Training Unit, cadets go through just over 100 hours of training. The only time we teach to use a firearm is in a situation where you're fearing that grievous bodily harm or death towards yourself or someone else, because it's lethal force and could take a life at the end of the day.
And each 10 rounds each.
They have approximately 12 hours of classroom work at the beginning of their training. That's to make sure we cover off the safety issues, range safety concerns, general information about the firearms and the firearms program. So they're then tested on it on their second class here when they receive their firearms. And the expectation is that they abide by those rules every time that they attend a session at firearms. The only time that they're permitted to carry their firearm during training is when they're coming directly to the Firearms Training Unit for their sessions. At the Firearms Training Unit, we specifically instruct the program for the 3 different firearms that we use in the RCMP. So we teach the program for the pistol, the carbine, and the shotgun. So we talk about our 4 big fundamentals, which is your stance. It all starts from your feet, to your grip on how you hold the firearm, to aligning the sights in order to have accurate shots, and then your trigger control. Our new 100-meter range, it's designed so that you can run 2 ranges at once. At the 50-meter mark, the range splits, so you can run it as one big range to have a session in order to shoot any of the 3 firearms. Or you can move further down the range and have 2 50-meter ranges if you wish. We teach a process, we call it follow through, scan, and breathe. So what that allows a cadet to do, or someone involved in a shooting, it opens up your tunnel vision.
Break your sight picture, bring your pistol in close to your body, breathe. Look to your left. Start scanning your environment. Look to your right.
If you're ever involved in a shooting, it could be a very, very stressful situation. So by doing that scan, that 360 scan, while you continue to breathe, it calms your body down. It allows you to check your environment to make sure that there's no other potential threats.
During your movement, so if we're moving, that's your time you can take.
Regular members are required to qualify on their firearms annually. So once they graduate from here and go to their divisions or their detachments, the expectation or mandatory that they requalify every year.
We have virtual reality for some aspects of training. We have simulation for aspects of training. We're looking at artificial intelligence in terms of firearms training and different things like that. So I think it's a very pivotal moment in the history of the RCMP in that we have so many things available to us with the advancement of technology moving forward that we can use to our advantage.
We have driving simulators and we also have firearm simulators that we use for marksmanship training as well as for judgment training, so scenario-based decision-making type stuff.
So, 9 Charlie 1 from dispatch.
Go ahead, dispatch.
We just received several reports of a man dressed in camouflage clothing holding a shotgun who is unlawfully hunting near the creek in Wascana Park.
What's the problem?
Drop your weapons, sir. You're under arrest.
You guys quit hassling me. I'm not bothering anybody here. Leave me alone. Everybody knows I'm doing this, and it doesn't bother anybody else. Get the hell out of here. Oh yeah?
The simulation training unit does have some range sessions where the cadets will go and use deactivated firearms and train virtually. Takes some pressure and stress off their bodies as well as their hearing, puts them in a bit of a more relaxed environment.
So we have a pod of 4 machines here that are linked together. So we're able to actually dispatch calls or scenarios to 4 cadets at once. The cadets are essentially using this equipment to either A, be introduced to a new skill, such as radio communication. So when you're driving your civilian vehicle, you're not talking on the radio and gathering information. So that's one of the things that we can introduce them to in here. As well, anytime there is an operation that we cannot safely or legally do downtown Regina, such as driving around with lights and sirens, for a reason, we're able to recreate that in here and so expose the cadets to that kind of world.
Often what you'll see in the media is our drill program, the marching, the yelling, the impressive red surge and the boots. And people think that that's what we're all about. I can say that the drill program only counts for 3% of our training, but it teaches so many other things. Absolutely everything that we do at Depot has a tie to operations and operational policing. It teaches resiliency. It teaches you to maintain composure in the face of adversity. The first time that you get yelled at should not be on the street in front of 1,000 protesters.
We are definitely promoting the core values such as integrity, professionalism, accountability. Keeps the esprit de corps, and that's so unique to our force. It definitely creates and promotes teamwork within the troop. The public expect you to help them. You may not have the answers for anything, but the confident will help you to make the right decision based on the situation you're facing. So we're trying to create that sort of environment to prepare them to face those situations and keeping their calm and composure to enable them to respond properly based on their risk assessment.
In speaking with cadets, a lot of them will say that they were intimidated by the drill program at the beginning, and the vast majority of them, when they leave, talk about some of their best memories are in drill, and they say that we should never get rid of it. And being a world leader in police training, we host police agencies from all across Canada and around the world, and places that have completely cut out their drill program come to us and say, we will never get it back, but it was a mistake for us to cut it out completely.
The Applied Police Sciences sessions at Depot is where the cadets spend more than half of their time during the week, and is where we teach all the foundation of policing. So we teach them a lot of the information that they need to know, and then we do scenarios with the cadets. The cadets learn how to work on a file from beginning to end, from the introduction to PROS, which is our police reporting occurrence system, to obtaining a statement. We have to interview people that we deal with for court purposes as well. It's important for them to be comfortable with that. Their powers of arrest, knowing that they're able to arrest a person if something has happened. Their powers of release, are they going to release this person on the court compelling documents, or are they going to be held for justice of the peace for a hearing? These sessions include being able to take good notes in preparation for the investigation and court, evidence collection, weapons offenses, all the way to the court proceeding. The cadets learn that here in APS during their 6 months. So APS is demanding. The cadets are expected to work really, really hard and provide their work on time.
I want to live a source life. Hi, I'm Cadet Sora from the RCMP Buffalo Detachment.
What do you want?
And this is my partner.
We put them in a scenario, right? And then we ask them to explain their actions. Okay, so you did this, why? Right? So they develop that skill of, well, this is why I did that. This is why it makes sense to me. We're not doing anything willy-nilly, and we're gone are the days of police officers saying, you know, very rigid, I did such and such because this guy did that, and that was it. No. We always say painting a picture, right? The totality of the situation. This is what I was faced with. These were the factors, the situational factors. This was my subject's behavior. This was my perceptions based on what was going on, based on the environment I was in. This is my tools, right? This is my tool belt. This is what I had in terms of intervention. This is why I selected this option over this one, because it's a better option because of X, Y, Z. At any given time in your service, you're going to be explaining your actions, not just to your supervisor and not just to police officers, but, you know, civilians as well. So your ability to be able to explain your actions, why you're doing what you're doing, and, you know, essentially explaining it in a way that a reasonable person could look at the same set of facts and be like, yeah, that makes sense to me, right? That's what we're looking for, to develop that skill in them.
If somebody wants to leave, can we stop them? No, unless they're under arrest. Bye, see you later. Yeah, just be careful that if they do go, that you don't go too far out of your partner's sight. So I was kind of watching and you're kind of following Laura, but then kind of backed off. So yeah, just be aware of that.
Oftentimes, when our officers go to court, it could have been months, even years since the incident. And we all know that we go to a lot of scenes during our career, so sometimes our memory will fade. So our note-taking will serve as recollection and to refresh our memory about the scene that we attended that day. Almost every session will call for the groups to be broken down into their learning teams. There's a lot of presentations. We have cadets from various ages coming through, some of which just graduated high school or college, and we have cadets coming from for a second career who haven't been in a classroom setting for a long time. Time management is where we see a lot of cadets struggling, planning and organizing. Those are areas that we encounter a lot.
I'm with Applied Police Sciences, but also I'm with the EARTH team, so that's the Emotional Resilience Skill unit that we're teaching additional to Applied Police Sciences. It is important for us as police officers out in the field to be able to take care of ourselves just like our physical health. This is the new skills that we're trying to introduce to them, just so that when they get in the field, they are ready to take care of themselves and ready to deal with the high level of stress that we will face on a day-to-day basis. They learn how to break down emotions into 3 components, which are thought, physical sensation, and behaviors. And what it is just to make it easier for them to realize things that's happening based on what we call the antecedent or trigger. They just have to look at their own feelings and understand how to analyze it and how to handle each of the components. And then we provide them with the techniques on how to deal with each of the components of their emotion. We introduce them to meditation. We introduce them to a few ways of thinking that isn't going to spiral. The big problem that we have in the field is the older generation. We are expected to not feel. We don't want to show the weaknesses. So most members just learn to hold it or push it aside. We're trying to teach cadets that it's okay to feel how you feel and see how we can respond with positive behavior. Conflict happens all the time, and they learn to deal with stress. They learn to deal with how to communicate when the emotions are high, and they learn how to sort out the problems among themselves. And so they take that into the field to realize that that's going to be your full-time job. Pretty much most of the calls that we respond to are to deal with conflict of other people, and you learn to understand that certain things that people say to them will make them feel a certain way, and sometimes strongly, but they are able to recognize that I'm angry because what happened, or I'm upset because, and they are able to decompress, and they're able to let it slide off their back, or they're able to recognize and then pick a different, healthier behavior to cope with their stress.
Well, there's support available for cadets who are struggling throughout the CTP through their own applied police sciences facilitation team. We also have a cadet resource liaison on base that's available to them. We have a social worker as well, and any other APS facilitator is available to help if needed.
Policing has changed, it's evolved. We need to be able to support what we're doing.
There's constantly change, and change for the better, right? It's to adapt to the new challenges that we're facing in the field, to adapt to the changing environment in Canada as a whole.
We've had to adapt and change to meet the needs of Canadians.
The holistic approach to training is different than it used to be. I think that it's more organic, and I think that there is more of a focus on wellness and well-being of people here that maybe wasn't here 20 odd years ago.
That's kind of my favorite, that evolution of going from you're new and then now you're a member of the RCMP.
There's definitely a sense of pride when they leave here fully qualified and graduating.
The confidence that they have grown and developed over the last 26 weeks is amazing. They show up here as civilian and then they graduate as Mounties.
Our teamwork in depot echoes in our jobs every day. We all work as a team. We can be transferred to another area, another detachment, but we still work as a team. We all have that same common training and work towards a common goal.
So it doesn't really matter, you can go on a course anywhere in the country and you all sort of have a shared experience that allows us to all kind of like relate to each other.
And that sense of teamwork that I learned at Depot, I'm able to take now, whether I'm working in a detachment for the RCMP or with the Major Crime Unit, where teamwork is so important to find success through our investigations. And I think I learned a lot of that through Depot.